Because he peeked in your window. He said, me don't want none of that.
I surrender.
The thong go like this. Oh, there's only one black man on the bus. The only problem, he's bigger than us. And you see the mamas, because at this time, it's just, I'm the only black guy. And
Somebody was looking straight ahead. They didn't know we were together.
And I'm trying not to laugh and everything, right? Mike and I, we this good.
You know, I'm tenderhearted.
It's real.
We
If you hunt and fish and have American pride, they have some great deals for you. For all your outgoing, plus a whole lot more. Only Born Southern Outfitters will do. Born Southern.
Welcome back to Born Southern, and today we got the legend Donald Smokey Belin in here. Everybody I know calls you Smokey. That's your friend.
That's right.
And some of these guys ain't been around you quite as much, so as big as you are, we're going to ask your permission. That we can call you
Please,
Smokey.
Daddy, sir.
Smokey's the reason I never joined the military, and we'll get to that later. But he had a big hand in my future when I was growing up. But we brought you on today because number one, I love you. We've been friends for a long time. We're family, and I couldn't be more proud of you. Smokey is the first ever in history black sheriff in West Virginia.
All right. Yes.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was pretty dang cool. And
Yeah.
I got to go down there when they were voting and mess with some of the folks around there. You know, I was going around acting like I was racist and talk to them and ask them, did they know that this guy named Smokey is a black guy? And you know what they said? We love him. I was like, dang, man. I said, he got him. I'm telling you, he got that whole county eating out of the palm of his hand. He is what he is, and he's always the same. I think them people are really proud to have you.
That's
up
the
there.
Union County roots coming out, right?
Yeah.
That's right. That's
it.
right. He's from Union County.
it.
But I guess, well, first tell the story about why I didn't join the military. Let's go there first.
I came back in 1983 after I got done with AIT. Came back as a hometown recruiter. I saw Mike coming into the cafeteria area, and I said, Mike, I called Mike Long, said, you need to come over here, man. I said, need you to sign some papers and everything, you know, trying to get me to go into the Army on the delay entry program. And Mike said, hell no.
I'll be honest with you, I was considering it back then. And I'm walking up to the cafeteria for lunch, and these kids are coming up to me, man, you got to see this guy. He's bigger than you are. But dude, the sleeves on them army shirts, you know, they're supposed to be big and your arms hanging out. It looked like he was cutting off his arms was that big. And I walked in there, I looked up, I said, and I started to get in line for the cafeteria. He said, Mike Long. I looked down, I said, you ain't gonna have your foot up my butt for the next 14 weeks. Like, that ain't happening. I was like, I can't do nothing about it. But, we've had some good times over the years. But tell us how you grew up and about high school.
I grew up, I was born in Little Marshville, North Carolina, Marsh Vegas, whatever you want to call it. And everything. I was and graduated from Forest Hills, and I went into the military. And from there, I did my time in the military, got out, and lived in Alaska for about another 2.5 years before I came home. That was my last duty station. And I lived in Alaska, and I moved back home and started law enforcement.
That's right.
Back in those days, the PSOs split time between being
police and fire,
right?
Police and fire, yes.
So you policed for a lot of years, and you know we were running around together a long time, and you were babysitting me, because I wasn't very good.
I took a break from law enforcement. I started in '88, and I left the police department in 1994, and went on the road as a bodyguard for a lot of the professional entertainers. You know, spent a lot of time in Nashville, traveling back and forth to Nashville, you know, bodyguard, and then as my kids were getting older, I decided that, you know, I needed to be at home to raise them. So that's when I started in the bar scene. Did
you ever do it with Margaritaville? With the other guys?
No, Slim and Snake.
Yeah, did you ever do it with them?
I didn't do it with Slim and Snake. I did I own my own company at the time and everything, you know, and I've spent a lot of time like with Reba McEntire, you pretty much Ray Charles, Ross Stewart, the Eagles.
Well, Ray Charles probably thought you was white, country as you are.
Ray,
He said, man, who brought this damn hick in here?
Ray knew I was a black man. Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, this is a true story. I mean, I don't tell this much because it tore me up about as bad as Swoop Monster did. And this is true. But so when I was in school and he came back home for a little bit, and I hadn't seen him in forever. And I stopped by Johnny Howie's place, Enterprise, over and worked out. And my mama dropped me off. Don't even think I had my driver's license yet. And so I took me a towel and I was gonna do the whole gym experience. I was excited, and I come walking. I got through my workout. And I went in the locker room and I grabbed my towel and I had it in my hand. And I come walking into the shower room and Smokey was facing that way. And look, that joker had 3 legs. I was like, I'm like
Tripod
15.
is here.
I put my towel on me and I didn't make a peep. I went back in there and got my clothes on. I was like, I'll take a damn shower in the house. I was like, I don't know what in the world that was. I don't ever will see that
Another
again.
Swoop Monster.
Hey, speaking of the Swoop Monster, so we just had Eric Purcell, Stacey Broadway and them on. And so the Swoop Monster over here in Unionville and back up towards Polk Mountain, all that's was a legend over here. Like, that was I guess Union County's version of Bigfoot.
Bigfoot. Yep.
Yeah. So you heard about it?
Yeah. Years ago.
Wow, there's another one.
Yeah. So I saw it. These guys we've had some people on that have, including not. I saw it. So you've heard? Have you heard it?
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
And everything. I've never seen it.
Right. Because he peeped in your window. And he said, me no want none of that.
Surrender.
Had no license.
You won't remember this, but I was young and I worked out at the Enterprise for a good while. You were working out in there and you were using some lighter weights on dumbbells.
Right.
And I'm like, dude, I know you can do weight. He said, and you told me, you said, it's not how much weight you do, it's how you control it.
Exactly.
And it taught me a lesson right then about how to slow those reps down and get the most out of it and not worry so much about the weight and worry about the exercise itself. But
squeezing at the top and lowering it down slow.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to talk about it, but I know when you were in the military and there was a bad wreck.
Yes, sir. 1985.
And you got messed up pretty bad with that.
I had a lot of internal injuries. I lost two buddies then and everything.
I heard. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, but live with it every day. But hey, it's one of those things that God's in control.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. My other buddy Lance, you guys policed together at Matthews. Was it Matthews? When the captain run over your leg or something when you was on a foot chase? Sergeant.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did it tear the car up?
He got up and got mad at the sergeant. I was like, dang, they run over him. He got it, flipped the dang car over on him.
So like being from Marshall, and then I know you from Charlotte, basically, in the club business and all that. How did you go to West Virginia and become all popular?
Yeah, I moved there in 2020, and when we first moved up there and everything, my wife and I, we went up there for like a 2-week stint, to work on our house and everything. This is right before we moved up there, and we were up there for like 4 or 5 days. And in those 4 or 5 days, my Uncle Joe, which is her uncle, but I call him my uncle too, and everything.
Right.
We went to we went to town. And everything, and I said, Uncle Joe, I said, is there any more black people around here? He said, look out the window. And I looked out the window. You see that black guy in that mirror? He said, that's it. He said, you look at yourself, that'll be it, and everything, So the greatest thing is having the parents that I had and everything that didn't see color and everything. They never taught us to be, prejudiced or look at anybody because of their skin color. He said, you look at the individual. It's just who I am and everything. I don't see color.
Hey, you've always been that way.
I tell a lot of people, I talk about Mike a lot and everything, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I look back at our friendship, Mike and I. We've seen the worst of the worst, the best of the best. If I needed Mike and everything. I didn't care whether it's 2:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. I say, Mike, I need you. Mike's coming and everything. He's not going to ask why, when, or where and everything. Mike's going to be there and everything. Wherever the friendship and the brotherhood and everything. Right. Mike's not my friend. Mike's my brother and everything. I mean, I have 3 biological brothers, but Mike's the fourth one. I mean, that's just
I'm the worst athlete in the family.
I mean, it's just the way it is and everything. I mean, we've been through that. we've been through.
We ain't gonna talk about all that on here.
Yeah, we ain't gonna talk about none of that.
Well, your brother's the same way. They're younger, and I got to know them some playing against them in school, and it just fine, upstanding young men always.
I tell you, my brothers now, we were truly blessed and everything. And we were surrounded in Marshall, after we started playing ball and everything, becoming the athletes that we were, we had a chance to really let God's light shine through us and everything, and bring the community together and hold things together and everything, and it's been a blessing. Yeah. It's been a blessing and everything. And moving to West Virginia and everything, there's a lot of people that never been around a black man before and everything. And I have a neighbor, she had never been around a black man. And we went to church with Uncle Joe and Aunt Kathy one Sunday and everything. And this is, I knew her name, but I didn't know her and everything, and it was raining when we came out of church. And I said, Miss Dooley, I said, let me hold your umbrella and hold your hand. I'm gonna walk you down the stairs and I'm gonna walk you to your car. And so I did that and everything. And then we left and Leah and I came back home. And Uncle Joe said that following Sunday, he said that she got up in church and she was crying and everything, and she said that she told the church and everything that she had never really been around, had anything to do with black people, because that was her upbringing and everything, and she said that she just broke down and cried and everything, because for so long she had that stereotype, that this is what black people do and everything, but she said that broke all that.
And, I feel like I've had a big part in bringing you together, like helping white people and you, like, I don't know. When we went on a white water rafting trip.
No. We get to a place where we were supposed to suit up. So the little boy, this little kid, he's probably 16, 17 years old, just a summer job.
Yes.
He comes up with the vests and helmets and everything. And at that time, I probably 310 pounds and everything.
3 plus.
Yeah, and Mike was a big guy and everything, But anyway, this kid came up and he gives us these vests. The little boy came back and everything to adjust us and everything, and he saw that hey, this stuff ain't gonna work and everything, right? And Mike said to the little boy, he said, "You got any points?" The little boy looked at Mike and he said, "Do what?" He said, "You got any points?" I said, "Buddy," and I tapped him. I said, "Look, I'm going to translate for him." He wanted to know if you got any friends.
I thought
And the little boy said, he shook his head. He didn't say nothing. He just shook his head, yes, and everything, right? And Mike said, "Will you be my friend?" And everything,
And he helped me put my shoes on.
And he said, and I said, there, he said, "Do what?" He wanted to know if you'll be his friend. And he shook his head, yes. Mike picks his little boy up in a bear hug. And he starts jumping around with it. I got a point, and everything, right? So it was hilarious. Then we get suited up in the right equipment and everything, right? And then the bus comes, and this bus could probably. This bus could only hold about 30 people, right?
Yeah, small bus.
A small bus. But anyway, we get on the bus and everything. Mike and Amy, they go towards the middle, and Lance and Jennifer, they're in the middle and everything. And my wife and I, we're up front. So we get to, and Mike, he hasn't said anything at this time. Nobody know that we're friends.
Nobody else is on the bus, but white people, church groups people with their kids.
With the kids. Mike get on the bus and everything, and we're laughing. Nobody knows that we're together. So Mike waits till the bus pulls off. We probably go maybe a tenth of a mile. And Mike stands up. He stands up in the middle of the floor on the bus, holding on to hold on to the handrail. He said, okay, everybody, we're going to thing a thong. We're going to thing a little thong. And he said, and I'm going to teach you the thong. He said, the thong go like this. Oh, there's only one black man on the bus. The only problem, he's bigger than us. And you see the mamas, because at this time, it's just, I'm the only black guy. And you see mamas start grabbing their babies. And then
Everybody was looking straight ahead. They didn't know we were together. I started singing that.
He sings it again, and I'm trying not to laugh and everything, right? So he starts singing again, and then he says, okay, everybody, thing along. Right? So we get up to the top before we're going to get put in at the river. These two dads, they get off the bus. We're laughing on the bus, after it's said and done.
Oh, yeah.
We're all laughing together and everything, We get off the bus, and these two dads, they said, man, it made my heart so happy to see that you guys were friends. That's we were looking at each other. What in the world we're going to do to protect our kids if these two guys start fighting?
Dude, it was great. Then when we got up there to the top, they made all the buses park like up here, and then you had to go one bus at a time down there to drop you off. And so the guys up there like, look, do not get off this bus. Whatever you do not get off this bus until we move it down there. And I was like, and he gets off. He said, everybody got that. Stay in your seats. Do not get off this bus. And so I see them guys walk all the way down there. And, I'm ADD and aggravating anyway. So I'm sitting down, I'm like, man, I can't sit here like this. I said, huh. So I rolled my window down. I said, all right, everybody off. Everybody got up and filed off the bus and started walking down. That guy comes on, he said, get back on the bus, get back on the bus. So listen, I got him to get off the bus 3 times. And finally, the guy walks over, he realizes me. He comes over there, he goes, would you stop? Oh my Lord. But yeah, man, we've had some good times.
Some real good times.
We've been family for years, and I cherish our friendship.
Yep.
And I man, the hospitality when we've been up there with y'all, man, it's beautiful up there.
And Mike and I enjoy it. I enjoy it, man. It's time for you guys to make another road trip.
I'm ready.
Well, the good thing too about what you're doing there, breaking that ground, it may pave the way for others in West Virginia.
And it's the area, the county that I'm in and everything. It's actually a poor county and everything, But at the same time, there's a lot of great people there.
Right.
You go back to the old days and everything, where the neighbors look out for each other and are always willing to help each other. That's the way it is there and everything, they got the riffraff there.
Right.
We have the riffraff too and everything, But on the whole, you couldn't ask for a better place to live and to be and everything, especially nowadays in the world that we're living in now and everything.
Yeah.
Everything's so fast paced.
Well, so, I know a lot of people are familiar with the Wild and Wonderful Whites of West Virginia. And actually, Boom had them at the club several times. And then now the last one was the Whitakers, the other most inbred family in America.
Yeah.
So tell me about all that.
You don't see that in Gilmer County. You don't see that in Gilmer County. You can tell there's a lot of people there that they've been there all their lives, and that's all. The life that they know is the life that they know.
So when you were trying to catch their vote to become sheriff or whatever,
right?
Did you actually go to doors and knock on doors?
I knocked on doors. And,
how did they react?
And there were some people, they were like, really, like, whoa, what's this about? And everything, and
Jehovah Witness.
And there were several times that I would be, at the grocery store, either a restaurant or whatever, and everything, with my uniform shirt on and everything, and they would see. To Gilmer County, but they thought because me being a black guy,
yep.
I was some federal police or something, but I had a big shirt on saying Gilmer County Sheriff's Office. So, it's just one of those things and everything. So, awesome. Yeah.
So let's get to the guts of it. Yeah. We want to know something about some of them holler stories and mountains up there. Like we want to know some stuff that people ain't figured out, some mysteries and stories up there.
Well, I just put it to you this way, Mike, I'm not scared of much and everything. But let me tell you, I don't know how to put this, but and you're talking about dark and everything, people here in North Carolina and everything, you know, they don't know dark until you get to Gilmer County, West Virginia. When it's dark, it's dark. And I'm talking about, you know, me being a black guy and everything, I go outside my yard and go outside my house around the barn and everything, you know. And stick my hand out in front of me. I can't even see. I know it's attached, but I can't even see the back of my hand. That's how dark it is and everything. You know, it's dark what is dark.
It is this dark up there.
Yeah, the people in the hollers and stuff and everything. You know, there are a lot of good people and everything. You know, you see a lot of these old houses. You know, just like my house that I lived in. You know, Mr. Gordon, he owned the house. You know, he built the house and everything. You know, so when we went in to remodel, there was no insulation. No insulation whatsoever, you know. Everything, they have newspapers stuck, you know, where they put the boards together like this.
Right.
They will have newspaper where they use egg white to stick the newspapers to the boards and let it dry. But that was the only insulation that they had and everything, you know. And it's just wow, you know. But,
So are there situations to where you run into where no one's got electricity or anything?
A large majority of the citizens, and especially like in Gilmer County, they were raised there and everything. They're never gone outside there no more than going, you know, to the city, you know, to shop or whatever, and then they're right back, you know.
They're going to die there also.
Yeah. That's, you know, and that's, you know, the one of the greatest things that just fascinates me and everything, we have a lot of old people, old elderly people there and everything. I'm talking about, you know, here you don't see many people in their 90s and everything, you know. We got two sisters and everything. You know, one's 102 and the other one was 101 years old, and they're still driving and everything. You know, and it just blows my mind that, you know, that good old mountain air and drinking well water and everything. You know? Yeah.
And they're eating their own food. They're eating better food too. Like, you don't just go out to eat down. When you get up there where he's at, you eating at the house.
Oh yeah. I remember when my uncle and some of my other relatives, they were big in using dogs to hunt.
Right.
And it's the strangest thing, because I went up there with them a couple times. They would pick out a dog from a breeder up there, and they'd say, "We'll be back in a year and have to get them." They wanted that dog to grow up in the mountains because they would be more hardy and more robust and less likely to get sick. And they'd pick them out.
Right.
And a year and a half later, they go get them, and them dogs were so much superior than the dogs around here, just raised in that environment.
Well,
it was the craziest thing.
If you ran up and down those hills and where I am and everything, you know, you'd be superior too.
He had a chicken. The dog jumped on a chicken when I was up there, and that chicken, he finally got him loose from it. And that chicken run up the mountain up there, and Smokey going around this way, and I was going this way, and he said, "We'll get him up here." I said, I'm not in no kind of shape to be climbing that mountain. Yeah. It's like this.
Yeah.
I was like, that chicken will come back.
If a swoop don't get him for breakfast.
I swear. But I'm telling you, boy, you can get in shape up there.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, the people in your county, I've been up there a few times, and they're even more hospitable than, like, they'll give you.
Oh yeah.
You know, I guess because they're so away from everything else, so they're so used to working with each other and helping. But man, anything you need, or we'd ride over, just pull up. And you know, around here you don't do that much anymore. You don't
People
just
wave to each other up there.
In my life experience, the people that have the least usually will give you the most.
That's true.
Yep.
You know, that's the
and
way
that's what I see so many divided families, so many families there and everything. You know that there's some type of conflict and everything. You know, and like a lot of these young people and everything. You know, I advise them and say, let me tell you something. You know, I know you might not have your dad might be an alcoholic. Your dad might be this and that and everything. You know, even if you don't live with your dad, make some type of relationship with him. Because I'm telling you, you know, I can also say, you know, because once you lose a parent, you know, I don't care how bad that parent it may be and everything. Once you lose that parent and everything, you're an orphan then. You're
1,000%.
No matter how you look at it, you're by yourself and everything, you know. And there's so many families up there that you know, they bicker and they complain, you know, and don't get along and everything, you know, and it hurts. It hurts me to my heart to see that they don't and everything, you know. I've you know, after 21 years in law enforcement here and everything, I've been on more domestics, you know, in the last 2 years than I've been on in 21 years, you know, and everything. It's just, it's crazy. It's just,
I tell my friends all the time, I'm like, and both my parents are deceased.
Right, mine too.
And until you lose someone that close to you,
Yes.
you don't realize how I should have called.
Yep. Yep.
I should have
Yep.
called her last week. I should have went by. I should have saw her one more time.
And and that's and I'm gonna be honest, just like when I lived in Alaska, the only reason I came home because of my mom and dad and
Right.
everything. I came home in 1987. I came home in 87 and everything. And from 87 to 2000, 2004, 2006. I think about it now and everything. What if I hadn't came home? Because I loved Alaska.
Right.
and I had never planned to move back to Lower 48s. But from 87, well, I actually moved here in 88. But if it hadn't been for that and everything, I think about how much time I would have missed with my dad. And my dad and I, we were like two peas in a pod and everything, and I look back and I thank God every day that, hey,
That's right.
God, you drew me to come back to Marshall and everything, or back to Union County and everything, so that I could spend those years with my dad and
That's
everything,
right.
because
And
it's
I saw
hard because it like I something good happens in your life, you don't really want to call your friends or anybody because you don't want to feel like you're bragging about something, like you're
Right.
just excited,
Right.
but you want to tell somebody, and my dad was always the one I'd
Right.
call him, and I catch myself still
right,
trying to call him.
right.
If something good happens, like I just want to tell him about it,
your parents don't get the appreciation they need until they're deceased.
Well, because my parents, my dad, I'm gonna tell you, and Mike will tell you, I'm a hugger and everything,
That's right.
And I can honestly say, my dad and my mom both and everything. Growing up, and, my dad would hug you. My dad was a hugging man and everything. I mean, he was a very wise, very, very wise man and everything, And my dad and my mom both, they knew that their boys, they knew that they were loved and everything, So,
You
And if
made
you-
it most of that time that you had.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
good because a lot of people can't say that.
yeah.
And if you have a son, I mean, that's the only man you really want to see better than you did.
Right,
Absolutely.
right. And and it don't have to be a son. It could be a daughter and everything.
Could be.
Right.
I want I got 5 and everything,
5 daughters?
No, 5 kids and
Okay.
everything. I want to see them be a whole lot better than I am. And
That's
everything.
right.
Mike and I, it's just like with Cannon. Mike and I, we this good.
I'm tenderhearted.
It's
to get
real.
started.
We
Mike will be the first one to cry.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
we have sat down back in the day. We're not going to get into it, but back in the day, we have sat down and we have talked and everything. I mean, with Catherine, with
Casey,
Kaylee,
Cannon.
and Cannon and everything. Mike's always, to me, he's been a good person and a great dad. He's a great dad. But now I look at Mike. Mike's a super dad now and everything, and to see the fellowship between he and Amy, to see the fellowship with his children and with his grandkids and everything, I look at it and everything, with God all things were possible and everything.
There you go.
Because if you'd asked me back in the 90s,
Me either.
if you'd asked me back in the 90s that I would be sitting here with Mike Long right now, talking with Mike Long and hugging Mike Long and everything, I have my doubts, brother.
Me too.
But God's a super God and everything,
Amen.
and hey, he is who he is and everything, And don't get me wrong, we all got to pass. We all got to pass and everything, and it takes some of us a little longer to grow up and everything. And Mike's a prime example.
Yeah, there you go.
Mike's a prime.
He uses like a sundial timing on that.
I'll be the first one to agree with that. I'll tell you what, I'm blessed with friends and family, and I just thank God. Everybody, my true friends and family, gave me time to
grow up.
grow up.
And I pray for my family and my friends every day and everything, and it's one of those things. Mike, you to me, you're a legend, and to me, you're my hero and everything. You dealt with the forces of evil and everything, and they battled. You battled and everything. But the grace of God and everything, which is a whole lot stronger, and which is a lot. How would you say it? a lot better. I'm gonna just put it that way in layman terms. Okay, you saw that, you saw it in everything, and it's just one of those things where a lot of people don't. A lot of people, they get in that, they battle with the devil. They battle with the devil constantly and every day, in and out, day in and day out, and everything, and they never see that peace and everything. And I can honestly say, Mike, I see that peace in you. I see that peace in your family. Just the family, the network that you have now, and everything, and everything. So,
And I asked you earlier how you got those votes.
yeah.
You just proved how you got those votes.
Yep.
You're a man when you say that you pray for your friends and your family and all. There's no doubt that you do.
I'm gonna tell you the story. I'm gonna tell you the story about how everything happened. Lee and I had been up in Gilmer County for 2.5 years and everything, And I decided one day that I was gonna go up to get my concealed permit. And being retired law enforcement under HR 218, I qualified, but I just wanted my West Virginia concealed permit. So I go up to the courthouse and everything, to get my permit. And the sheriff, he's sitting in his office and everything, and I'm up doing my paperwork and everything for my permit. And he says, "Hey, Smokey," he said, "when you get done," he said, "what about coming in here and talk to me and everything, All right, whatever, And so I get done doing the paperwork and I go in there and talk to him. He said, "You ever thought about law enforcement here in West Virginia?" I said, "I thought about it, when I first moved here. But I said, I've been retired for 2.5 years and everything. I said, hey, I'm kind of liking retirement and everything." He said, "Well, I sure could use your help." He said, I've heard a lot of good things about you and your law enforcement and everything, And I said, "Okay, whatever," and everything, And so I said, so I wrote down there all the training that I had. He said, "You got certificates for all these?" I said, "Yes, sir." I said, "I sure do," and everything. So he asked me if I could get them to him. I said, "Well, I'll run home and I'll come back and everything, And so I went home and got my certificate book and brought him back, ran it off and printed them so he could send them to Charleston and everything, And so he sent all that stuff to Charleston, and the next day Miss Danielle called me and said, "How do you get all this training and everything, And then the next day she emails him and everything, And she says that, "Hey, we can get him in a short school and everything." Because of all my training, I only had to do like 13 days of training and everything, and I was certified in West Virginia. And and it's just one of those things where I told him up front, the sheriff at the time, I told him up front and everything. So he said, because on the way home after I dropped off the certificate, he said, "When I asked you to come to work for me and everything," he said, don't want you to come and be a deputy. I want you to be my chief deputy and everything, And so I go back up the next day and everything after talking to my wife and everything, and told him that, "Yeah, I'll take the job." I said, "But listen to me." I said, "John," I said, "doing the right thing is doing the right thing." I said, "I ain't nobody's boy and I ain't a puppet on a string." I said, "You understand what I'm saying?" I said, "Doing the right thing is doing the right thing. I'm nobody's puppet on a string and everything, and I'm nobody's boy. You understand that?" Because I've heard stories. I've heard stories,
Yeah.
and everything. I told him like it was and everything, and that's the way I live my life and everything, And so, in March, in that following March of 24, I went to the academy and everything. I got certified and everything. I came back and I started doing my thing and everything. He didn't like that. I got out. He was wanting to sit in the office and do nothing and everything, But I got out and I rode around and I patrolled. I met people. I greeted people. That's what a sheriff is supposed to do and everything.
That's right.
And not only that, but you got to care for your people. You got to care for your people. You got to support your people and everything, And my biggest thing and everything, you could be the biggest dirtbag, you could be the biggest drug user or whatever and everything. Smokey Belin's going to treat you like a human being and everything. Smokey Belin's going to treat anybody like a human being and everything, Until, hey, the choice is yours. You treat me with respect, you're going to get respect back and everything. It's just how I am.
And the people saw that.
And people saw that and everything. So,
Right. That's right. Well, I'm proud. I'm real proud of it. I'm real
Thank
proud.
you. Yep.
And you've always been good and fair to me and have my back. And I appreciate those kind words. But I think that's the way I would describe you, not me.
No, Mike, you don't. Mike, you and I, we sat down. We sat down and we talked and everything. And Mike, you know how close. You know how close my brothers are. You know how close Greg Moore and Laverne. You know how close we are.
Yeah.
But Mike, you you have that blood, those blood brothers like I have and everything, that DNA brothers and everything, you know. You're close to them and everything, you know, Mike, but you at the same time, you're totally opposite. You're totally opposite and everything, you know. And you know my brothers and everything, and you know that I'm the opposite one. You know I'm the
y'all
opposite
all
one.
good people.
Yeah, they're great people.
Great
I mean, great people. But you know, I'm that one. I'm that daredevil. You know, I'm that adrenaline junkie. I'm that hey, don't start none, won't be none, and everything. You know, I'm that. You know, it's just who I am and everything. You know, and that's when you came into my life and everything. You know, Mike. I felt that from day one and everything, you know, that I had a brother, you know, that, hey, you know, I'm going to call, if I call Greg, you know, Greg going to say, at 2 o'clock in the morning, what for? Why? You know, he's going to try to talk, he's going to try to talk me out of it and everything. Mike on the other hand and everything, he ain't going to ask no questions and everything. I'm coming. You see what I'm saying? You know, so, yeah.
Handgun or long rifle?
Hey, that's exactly.
Too old for about anything else.
Yeah, your truck or my truck. Exactly, you know. So.
Man, I remember we was so broke years ago, and you know, the lottery had got so big. You know, we didn't have lottery here in North Carolina then.
Right.
And me and Smokey was working out. We decided we was going to go get some lottery tickets. I think we had maybe $20 in our pocket each. So we drove to South Carolina to get us a lottery ticket, and man, all the way down there, all we talked about was man, if we could win this money, if we won this money, who all we could help and our family and everything. And I knew that day because I was like, we had the same thoughts, you know, like we were just, man, it was a memorable drive, and I'll never forget that. Like,
Right.
And we won.
Right.
No.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
You won at life.
Yeah,
That's right. We
yeah.
wanted life. It's
Yeah.
But I just want to thank you for coming in tonight,
Thank you.
and
you.
tell you how much I love you, because I do.
Yeah.
I mean, we're family, and my kids love you. Everybody, so I couldn't be more proud of you. And we'll call that a wrap. And
Well, with that, before we call it a wrap, with that said, I'm gonna ask you guys and everything, you know, and those of you that are listening, you know, pray for our law enforcement, pray for our people and everything, our law enforcement and everything, you know.
absolutely.
God, you know, the devil is in full reign here in the United States of America and everything, you know, and you know, we've sat here for the last hour or so and everything and talked about family. Ladies and gentlemen, this is all we got. This is
That's
all we
right.
got. Is friends and family and everything, you know, and we have all got to stick together because you can see it, the way the world's going and everything, you know. I'm not gonna get on the political box and everything like that, but you know, you can see it and everything, you know. So I'll leave it at that.
Great.
You're exactly right, and I appreciate it. We're gonna call that a wrap, and stay Southern, y'all.
Hey, Southern.